Lions clubs have been doing this for a number of years right now, and I think, have been very, very fortunate here. In the past, we've had sometimes 1 or 2 presentations. I think last year we had 6. This year we've got 7. So I'm really, really happy to see the interest in this from the community.
Important is how I look at those challenges and whether I'm able to look at the positive things in those challenges or look at the negative. Okay, so that was something which was really difficult for me to imagine at 5 years old. I was more interested in the next episode of My Little Pony, but so the first time when I began to realize the relevance of this advice was when I was in 7th grade. 7th grade was a really tough time for me. My grandmother had just passed away. We had moved to a new town, and it was a difficult transition from remote to in-person. I was having difficulty making new friends at school. So this was a difficult time, clearly. And the first thing that I thought of when I thought of my grandmother's advice was how I could build upon it and try to adapt it to my own circumstances.
It took me all of 2 seconds to realize that despite the truly amazing people around me, that no advice I'd ever received from them stood out clearly in my mind. So I looked to the movies. And that's when I realized that the best advice I'd ever received was from the 2018 Netflix film Dumplin', based off of Julie Murphy's book of the same name. And I hope that in the next 5 minutes you can understand just how much this movie and book mean to girls, people, and women like me who just sometimes need that little reminder that we are beautiful and strong just the way we are.
I had trouble focusing for long periods and often felt overwhelmed by the volume of information and the complexity of the text. To tackle this, I set small, manageable goals. I started with short articles or stories and gradually worked my way up to longer books. Over time, my habits stuck and my confidence grew. What I feared was simply a lack of practice and patience, which I could overcome with consistency. Speaking of writing, I gave myself permission to make mistakes. In time, I became less afraid of putting words on paper and more focused on communicating my ideas clearly. The more I wrote, the easier it became to refine and improve my draft.
Advice, and sometimes, without even realizing it, they shape who we are. Some advice is good, others is bad, and some decent enough to pass. But the good ones, the ones that truly resonate with us, they stick. They become a part of who we are, shaping us every day until we realize they've made us the person we've become. Writing this speech, I struggled to choose the right one, to which I realized there isn't a right piece of advice or even a right way to give advice. And yet, when I sat down, 2 pieces of advice lay in the forefront of my mind. Advice I've carried with me for years. Advice that has not only shaped who I am, but became a part of me.
Behind every significant invention is a tale of perseverance. Without perseverance, we wouldn't have the very lights above me. One story that stands out is that of Thomas Edison. Often credited with inventing the light bulb, Edison exemplified the importance of staying focused, despite numerous failures. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that this will not work." For Edison, each failed attempt was merely another step towards success. By keeping his goal of creating a functional light bulb in mind, he pushed through challenges that would have discouraged most people. His unwavering focus is a testament to the power of perseverance.
My mother had immigrated from Ukraine and my father from Guatemala, both seeking new possibilities. They came with minimal financial support, but an abundant amount of drive and perseverance. They had overcome difficulties such as language barriers, financial situations, and marginalization. Eventually, my brother and I came into the picture, and we were blessed to acknowledge the privileged life brought to us solely by the dedication of our parents. Through their experiences, they inspire me, but the best piece of advice they ever gave me was to prioritize the importance of constantly having a hunger for achievement and expanding success.
Success isn't about proving yourself to others. It's about doing the thing that makes you feel alive. That lesson just didn't stay on the soccer field, though. It's carried over to everything I do, whether it's photography, robotics, or science fair projects. I've learned to pour myself into things I care about, even if nobody else really understands it. Right now, in fact, I'm working on a science fair project studying oxidative stress in fruit flies. It's not glamorous and it's definitely not interesting or anything to talk about at a lunch table or a dinner. But it's something I'm passionate about, and it's something I love, and it's taught me patience, care, problem solving, and the joys of overall just discovering things.